Objection, Your Honor. The body of Misty Faye was carried all the way to Hazakura Temple's courtyard. Then at the garden, the real scene of the crime, the snow that we suspected was covered in blood was scooped up and removed. It's reasonable to believe all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, there's still one matter that seems somewhat odd. You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Godot. It's the message written in blood on the lantern. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya. If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, then why didn't they wipe the writing off the lantern? Indeed, but it doesn't make much sense to move the body and remove the bloody snow. Then not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, the bloody writing. I don't know what the killer's plan was, but it's a fact that the killer left the writing on the lantern. There must be a reason for it. Bingo! Prosecutor Godot, earlier in this trial, you gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that a crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean that they didn't notice it. You're right. There's no way any normal person would. There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing the bloody writing altogether. Bingo. Gotcha. Mr. Godot, this is what you said yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. Is that correct, Mr. Godot? This lantern was submitted as evidence today. I would like the court to think back to the moment it was first presented. Bingo. He can't see it. That's why he thought there was no blood on it. Mr. Godot, just admit it. There are certain colors you can't see, correct? You can't see red on a white background, can you? That's right, we went through this once before. During the poisoning case at Trilogy. This is the apron that the delightful Miss Bird was wearing at the time, and somehow spilled coffee on. That wasn't coffee, though. That was blood. You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see the ketchup because it was red. In a black and white photo, those letters would have appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one who can't see them? Are you admitting it, Mr. Godot? Are you admitting that you can't see the red writing on the lantern? I wasn't sure about it until now, but I just can't believe it. Prosecutor Godot is the murderer! But there's no going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Godot, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Misty Faye. Objection, Your Honor. I'm certain that the killer wasn't able to see the color red. The answer is right there at the crime scene. In the snow. Well, for example, why did the killer move all that snow? Your Honor, you said it yourself. If he wanted to hide the bloody snow, why not take out just that area? Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that had seeped into the snow, and so he had to remove all of the snow. He couldn't be sure of where the blood had landed, so he removed the whole area. Not a chance. The torches were all lit. He would have been able to see just fine. Can you explain this, Mr. Godot? Maya! Maya, do you plan to cover for Godot no matter what the cost? If that's the case, then I've got no choice. Your Honor, let's hear her testimony. If it means we're gonna hear the entire truth, I say we should not silence her. Real smart, Maya. You always know the best things to say when you're under oath. Let's get this cross-examination started. So where do you think Pearl slept that night? Seems that Pearls became very worried about Maya. Pearls was supposed to channel Dahlia Hawthorne, but she couldn't do it. That's why she headed to the inner temple. However, Dahlia Hawthorne was already there, possessing the body of Misty Faye. She searched the entire inner temple side, end to end. The inner temple side has two structures, the training hall and a spare prep room. Storage shack. Pearls is looking for the people, right? Would she really have examined the storage shack all that carefully? Pearls didn't hear the sound of them working on the bridge? I was just wondering why she would stay in the prep room. If it was me, I'd at least go out and wait at the foot of the bridge. She couldn't let anyone see her, so she wouldn't have shown herself to Pearl. So it was your first time on the Inner Temple side, Mr. Godot? Very well. No. What you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. Those are your words, Your Honor. What do you have to say for yourself, Mr. Godot? So he had never visited Hazakura Temple or the Inner Temple, huh? In any case, I'll have to find a crack in Godot's armor. Well, I cross-examined Maya, that is. Cheered her up. Pearls. This guy's really beginning to get on my nerves in more ways than one. Maybe I should ask some questions. You said that you conducted an investigation of your own. Did you find anything? I didn't miss it, so speak for yourself. The only odd thing I discovered was the beauty of the training hall. Huh? Misty Faye. So from there, are you headed for the prep room? Wait a sec. I think I just found his proverbial weak spot. There's only one thing of any importance here. Where was Godot when the murder was taking place? He must have already been in the inner temple when it happened. Otherwise, he couldn't have killed Misty Faye. Wait a minute! I don't buy it. Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Godot, the first time you crossed Dusky Bridge and went into the inner temple was long before the murder took place. Because he just made a fatal slip-up. The hanging scroll in the training hall Maya, I know you know who it is, but there's something you didn't know. By the time that bridge had been repaired 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this. The morning after the crime, someone had covered it with gravy. Because gravy was much more than a condiment to the culprit. Well, Mr. Godot, if you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder, you wouldn't have had any way of knowing that it was Misty Faye. Huh? The Magatama. It's the mark of the master, correct? True, but Mr. Godot described what was underneath like this. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes. Yes, it's possible that he knew what the crest meant. However, he couldn't have known that she was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Godot, on the day of the murder, you were hiding in the inner temple long before the crime took place. What is it? Of course, Mr. Godot knew about the plan. This crime was actually planned over a year ago. Morgan Fay authored the plan for her daughter's future. And these instructions were hidden somewhere in Fay Manor for a year. However, by the time little Pearls found these instructions, they had already been unsealed. Yes, the killer had read these instructions long before Pearl ever found them. That's how he knew the crime was going to take place at the Inner Temple. You bet I do. If he really wanted to know, he had one great chance to find out. During a visit, Morgan Fay told her daughter Pearl about where the instructions were hidden. During one of her visits to the detention center. That would be the only time for someone to have learned where they were hidden. Bingo! Yes, it could have been arranged. It could be arranged if you were someone with easy access in and out of there. Like, for example, a prosecutor such as Mr. Godot? This murder could not have been carried out without prior knowledge. And you were the only one that could have acquired this information before the murder. And he ultimately took a person's life. And he did all that just to protect the witness. That's right. Why would I do this? Oh, I disagree. Got a reason to go through the kind of trouble to protect her? I think not. Even considering that the killer wanted to protect this witness's life, his behavior is still a little too unnatural. Objection, Your Honor. However, you did have a good reason, didn't you, Mr. Godot? An unshakable reason that forced you to protect this witness at all costs. You're damn right I have, Maya. Maya, I guess you were doing your best to cover for Godot. For the same reason, huh? Fine. It's very simple. Maya Fey is a lot more than just a stranger to you. There's one person who lies at the very center of this whole story. One person that ties you and Maya Fey together inextricably. There's a very good reason why Maya Fey's life is so precious to you. After all, she is Mia Fey's only sister. You once worked alongside her. That was when you were a defense attorney. Bingo! That is right, Your Honor. Mr. Godot is a defense attorney. With Your Honor's piercing intellect, you must have figured it out by now. The real name of this man who calls himself Godot, his real name is Diego Armando. Isn't that right? It should, Your Honor. All this is related to a single case. A case in which a convict named Terry Falls killed himself. Mia Fey's first time in court, the tragic outcome left a deep wound in her heart. She knew that behind it all was a heartless, scheming demoness in disguise. But in the end, Mia couldn't tear off that disguise. However, there was one man who reached out to help her. Diego Armando, a senior defense attorney at the office where Mia worked. Mia and I thoroughly investigated that fake kidnapping incident. Then one fateful day, Dahlia wanted to meet with me. It had been 6 months since the trial. We met in the courthouse cafeteria. Bingo, Your Honor. Dahlia Hawthorne slipped some poison into my coffee. Some newspapers at the time called it a murder. Very little information about the case was released to the press. But you weren't dead at all! No official reports ever actually called it a murder. I was just in a deep, deep coma. Let's see. My body shut down and my life became nothing but a long, deep sleep. That woman's poison did a real number on my central nervous system. I lost my sight and all my hair turned white due to the damage it caused. Apparently it's a miracle that I ever regained consciousness. 5 years have passed since I drank that poison brew. 5 years? You were asleep for 5 years? If I may ask, what were your 2 reasons to live? Huh? Me? It wasn't like that. That's why you became a prosecutor. She goes by the name of Maya Fey. One year ago, when the Crane Village incident was resolved, it was obvious that Morgan Fay was planning something. Whatever her evil plan was, I was determined to stop it. My role as a prosecutor put me in the perfect position to deal with something about her. That's how you overheard Pearl's visit with Morgan at the detention center. That makes sense. If Pearl had known that the actual purpose of the plan was to kill Maya, she never would have helped out. Accomplices. Iris of Hazakara Temple and Misty Faye. She was to take the fall on my backup plan in case we couldn't control Pearl Faye. She'd been missing for almost 20 years! strong ties between the main family and the government. Now you mention it. The head nun did say something to that effect. She said that the Master of Karain had great authority. Police have been keeping an eye on her movements all this time. So I was able to contact her. Here's my position as a prosecutor. The day the plan was to be carried out arrived soon enough. You mean Pearl, don't you? What do you mean? She channeled the spirit first, and Pearls wouldn't be able to do it herself. As Master of Karain, Misty Faye's power is supreme. Godot. No doubt about it. The background leading up to this incident has been laid bare. There's just one question remaining. Maya. Maya, I know that. But even so, it doesn't absolve him of his crime. Please, Maya, testify. Miss Faye, your testimony, please. This is the final testimony. Don't bother trying to hide anything, because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips, Maya. Tell us about the moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder? Red lights. Thought you said you don't remember seeing them. Oh, I can prove it. Maya's telling the truth this time, I know it. The rest is up to me. Gladly, Your Honor. Light shining in the dark? I don't think you can make a mistake about that. Can't say for certain. So sure it was Mr. Godot's mask either. I don't get the feeling she's coming for her anymore, but Maya's life was in terrible danger at the time. There's no way she can remember the details of the scene perfectly. What did you do when you saw the red lights? That blood, was it Dahlia Hawthorne's blood? When the killer stabbed the victim from behind with the murder weapon? Without a doubt, Maya was in the middle of a really dangerous situation. What happened after that? Struck back? How do you know that? do at that point. You still see the red lights you mentioned earlier? They went out? The red lights were coming from Godot's mask. They went out right in the middle of a fight. The mask was damaged? It was knocked off. What do you mean by just at that moment? Do you mean the moment when the red lights went out? The scream that you heard then, was it Dahlia Hawthorne? That scream came from the killer? That's gotta be it. Dahlia Hawthorne must have taken the blade and attacked the killer with it. The killer let out a scream of pain, huh? After that, the killer stole the blade back and delivered the final blow. Sounds like a reasonable deduction, but I still kind of wonder. Sorry to say this, but that interpretation would create an enormous contradiction. Remember the testimony she just gave. Before the killer let out a scream, Maya said she had already been splattered by the victim's blood. In other words, the victim in this staff had already been plunged into the victim. She couldn't have struck back with a sword that was already stuck in her body. The weapon that caused the killer to let out a scream must have been something other than that staff. So one thing I can think of that could have been used as a weapon here. Naturally, the dagger the killer brought to the scene of the crime. This dagger was found at the crime scene stuck in a pine tree. Dahlia Hawthorne struck back at the killer with this. And she managed to wound him as well. Objection, Your Honor. Have you forgotten that the blood has already been tested? Since we already learned that it wasn't the victim's blood, it must be the killer's blood. The killer must have a wound somewhere on his body. Exactly. A DNA analysis of the blood would prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yes, Mr. Godot, I would prove that it's your blood. Is this the end? Have I done it? Even he won't be able to change the results of a scientific test. What? That's true. I don't buy it. What? Mm-hmm. That's right. She's got a point. Maybe just change his clothes. That solved the contradiction pretty easily. Objection, Your Honor. I'm already aware of that.